Hey, today we're going to talk about practicing your ukulele, particularly if you're a beginner, what to practice and how to get the most out of your sessions. Let's do it. The first thing I'd recommend that you do is commit to some short practice sessions that are regular. So instead of picking up your ukulele and playing for 3 hours in one session and then not doing that again for another week, another 2 weeks, I'd recommend much smaller sessions that are more frequent, so maybe 20 minutes, and doing that as many days as you can. 3 to 4 times a week should be enough if you're a newcomer to kind of really start seeing some improvements. Next one up is to have a goal for each session, and it doesn't matter how small that goal is. Maybe it's you want to get a certain finger picking pattern down, and maybe it's just something like this. If you have a goal in mind, you will achieve it. If you don't have a goal in mind, quite simply, you won't achieve it. You might find that your practice sessions get lost along the way and you kind of never really see the benefit. If you have a goal and something to aim for, you genuinely will actually get there. Another little tip that I got from someone else before I kind of go into the practice routine that I would recommend if you're a beginner is try and commit to just 1 minute per day of practice. And the reason that is a really good tip is because probably by the time that you've got your ukulele out, if you keep it in a case or you just keep it somewhere out of the way, you've committed to 1 minute. It's probably taken you more than 1 minute to get it and to get settled. You're probably going to play for more, but you don't have to. If you make that commitment to just a single minute, you'll kind of start to see the benefit, and you'll probably find that you're playing for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Obviously, that's the more time the better, but just try and say, yeah, I'll just do 1 minute a day. Okay, so here's the routine that I used for a long time when I was a beginner. It worked really well for me. So what I did was I split my practice session, my 20-minute daily practice session, into 4 main sections. And the first one is chord changes. So I would spend 5 minutes on chord changes. And the way I would get the most out of practicing those chord changes is to focus on the ones that I was weak at. So if you're having trouble getting from C to G, and maybe you're a little bit slow to get between the 2 chords, and it's coming up frequently in a song that you want to learn, what I would do is just spend 5 minutes focusing on pure chord changes. So what I would do on that front is I would set myself a little timer up for 60 seconds, and I would focus only on playing a C to a G for that 60 seconds. So I would just go like this. I'd set the timer going, hit the button, I'd play a C, and switch to a G, and then back to a C. And I would try and get as many of those chord changes in 1 minute as I possibly could. I keep a record of that, and then do that a few times a week, and you'll find that you rapidly speed up. The beauty of that as a technique for practicing is that you are purely focused on those chord changes. So if you've got a song that's C to G, and it's maybe 2 bars of C, and then 2 bars of G, if you try and practice it that way in the context of those 4 bars, actually only a really minor part of all that time is that chord change. Whereas if you're just changing between the 2 and breaking it away from the song, pretty much all the practice time there, even though it's only 1 minute, is just on that chord change. So you should see improvements because you're actually dedicating more time to it. So I'd spend 5 minutes on chord changes, and I would pick the ones that you're struggling with. So C to G maybe it's a D that you're struggling with. Who knows, but just try and commit to that. So that's the first 5 minutes of the practice session done. The second 5 minutes, the next 5 minutes, would be strumming patterns. So I would just spend 5 minutes just working on strumming. And I might even extract the chords away and not actually play a chord. So if I'm trying to get a down, down, up, down, up pattern going, so I'm taking the chords away. So again, I'm isolating the one thing that I'm struggling with, which is the strums. It may be any particular pattern. It may be triplet strumming that you're struggling with. Again, I'll just do 5 minutes purely on strumming patterns. I would hold the chords off for now and just focus purely on just the strumming alone. So that's your second 5 minutes. You're 10 minutes into your practice session now. For the next 5 minutes, I might work on finger picking for 5 minutes. So I may just work on a specific pattern for 2 of that 5 minutes. Or I may pick a few patterns out that I'm struggling with, but again, I'm focused on 1 or 2 patterns maybe, and just trying to get those locked down. Again, similarly with the strumming patterns, I maybe would take the chords out of it, or just pick a single chord to play with while you're getting the pattern down. So you're just focusing on the actual pattern, and then when you get a little bit more comfortable with that, you might want to throw a change in. Because that is kind of key to fingerpicking. You will have to change chords at some point. Okay, so we've done 5 minutes on chord changes, we've done 5 minutes on strumming patterns, and we've done 5 minutes on fingerpicking. The good news is the last 5 minutes, work on some songs, have some fun. And the reason that I put songs in as the final part of the practice session is probably because you're going to run for longer than 5 minutes with this. If you want to, it's the most enjoyable part. Obviously, practicing purely and focusing, it's quite hard going. It takes a certain amount of commitment and dedication on your part to do that. Whereas songs, everyone has fun playing songs, so we put that in the final 5 minutes and you get to just go over them and play them and have some fun. When it does come to songs, if you're getting the chords from somewhere, I would try and play as much from memory as you can. You'll find songs stick in your brain a lot better when you have to work at them rather than just looking at a chord sheet. What I would do is try and play the song from memory, and if you struggle and you can't quite work out the next chord change, have another look back at your chord sheet and then again go from memory again. Well, I wouldn't go too crazy and try and bolt 6 or 7 songs into a single session, and just try and focus on 1, maybe 2, and just go that way. And hopefully that will help you become a much better ukulele player. It's certainly the technique that I used when I was starting out, and it paid off for me. I do have a practice routine on my website that you can check out, and I have some downloadable PDFs that you can print out and fill in your practice sessions. It's always good to take notes and focus on what you're practicing on. So hopefully you learned something in this video, and I hope that your practice sessions start to really pay off for you and you start to see some noticeable difference. And check out my website at Ukulele Go for more information and tips. I'll be back soon with more videos. Thanks for watching.